Hey, good day, everyone, and thanks for joining us. We're going to get started here. Let me find the right place for my microphone. Make sure all my buttons work. There we go. Hey, thank you for joining. I am Greg Quiroga. I'm the founder of Stellar Fundraising Auctions. I've been conducting and consulting on fundraising auctions since 2004. I've helped raise hundreds of millions of dollars across the country. And when the pandemic hit hard this spring, immediately I realized that the way of the future, for now at least, are virtual galas. So I conducted my first virtual gala on Saturday, April 4th. To date, I've raised over $2.2 million online and counting. And more importantly, I've spent the last 4 months focused solely on learning and developing best practices for virtual galas. And through the series of webinars that I've been doing, have arrived finally at looking at bidding platforms. As always, we are recording this webinar. I'm going to send a link to all attendees after the fact, so feel free to take notes. Don't feel pressured to do so. I encourage questions, and I really do look forward to hearing from all of you. If at any point in time you have a question, please feel free to enter it in the Q&A. I'm not going to stop and answer the questions until the end of the presentation, however, but if you have a question at the moment, instead of forgetting it or hoping you don't forget it, feel free to enter it in Q&A, and that way there's questions stacked up when I get there. If you happen to be watching a recording of this webinar and wish you were able to participate in any of our webinars in real time live, please go to www.stellarsf.com and sign up. We'll get you on our mailing list and make sure you have an opportunity to sign up and be here with all the wonderful people who are joining me right now. What are we going to cover today? We are going to look at how bidding platforms impact the role of a virtual auctioneer. Going to cover 10 different virtual gala bidding platforms from the auctioneer's perspective, and that is as big a number as it sounds. And then we'll have one tip. I only have one tip for you this week, and then we'll end with some questions and answers. So what do I care about a bidding platform? It used to be that there were two main decision points you as the nonprofit organization had when choosing a bidding platform for your live auction: the ease of use for you and your administrative team, and the ease of use for your bidders. As a live auctioneer, I was completely agnostic when it came to bidding platforms. I had no vested interest in what bidding platform you used for your in-person gala. As long as you're able to pre-swipe guest credit cards and tie them to pre-swipe guest credit cards and tie them to their paddles, transcribe the numbers that I called for winning bids and fund the need pledges, then charge winners and successful pledgers and avoid long lines at the end of the night, I was good. And there were plenty of options for online or mobile bidding auctions, which were basically the equivalent of a silent auction, but that didn't really impact my work. So for the last 16 years, I've been doing a lot of work with Greater Giving because they were the first player in the space. Shout out to my peeps from back in the auction pay days. I've had a number of clients use a number of other bidding platforms successfully, and my approach was, if you and your bidders are happy, I'm happy. GiveSmart, schoolauctions.net, Ready, Set, Auction, been there, done live auctions with that. But since the advent of virtual galas, all of that has changed. My ability to successfully do my job is now directly tied to the bidding platform you choose. And in a virtual gala, I need to see 4 things in as close to real time as possible: the bids as they come in, the winning bidder on each lot as soon as it closes, pledges made in the fund a need in real time, preferably the name and the dollar amount of the person pledging and how much they pledged, the total amount raised in the fund a need. Hopefully, you may have access to a graphical representation of this information so you can display it. Think a thermometer for your fund a need, for example. Some platforms present this data in an easy to access, no clicking required format. Other platforms require jumping through hoops just to see static data that only updates when you jump through said hoops again. And as your fundraising auctioneer, I have to do all of this in real time while on camera. And I wanted to give you a feel of exactly what I'm talking about. So I have 2 short videos I'd like to share with everybody. Both are from a recent virtual gala I conducted on behalf of Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Bay Area. Hey, Stacy, I see you in the crowd. Thanks for joining us. And let's start with the product. The virtual gala as broadcast on YouTube. And side note, yes, I know I look blown out. We tried a new lighting arrangement for the first time without rehearsal, and I needed makeup. Lesson learned. We're going to pick up pardon me, we're going to pick up the action as I finish pitching the first group of auction items, set the countdown timer, and move into the bidding. So when I'm looking to your left or my right, that's where I'm looking at the script. And when I'm looking to my left or your right, that's where I'm looking at the screen with the bidding on it. And as you'll see, not everything flows 100% smoothly. It's not horrible, but there are some minor gaps here. Let's just press play and see.
Opening bid on this was at $3,800. We'll check in on the bidding, but first, let's start the countdown timer. There's 2 minutes left on Group A, 2 minutes left on the first 4 lots of the night. And let's bounce over and take a look and see where the bidding has gotten to on lot number 1, the virtual comedy night. Oh, the bidding started with Sonia at $1,000, and Daniel Coleman's bid her up to $1,100, looking to get more bids on comedy night. Oh, and then looking at lot number 2, which is the alluring Alpine Meadows, the getaway. It's either a getaway now or getaway later. Craig Beacock started us off at $3,000, and then Dan Wire came in at $4,000. And then the bidding really got hot then, because Alex and Marissa came in at $4,250, and then Matt came in at $4,500.
So there's that gap on the second lot where I've had the bids that I could see, and then it took a second to get through to where all the bidding actually was. And
opening bid on this was at $3,000.
This is what I love. Here we go. So I knew this bidding software setup was going to cause some challenges. So I brought my own video camera and was able to capture the whole event from my perspective. This video is of the exact same moment, but basically from my perspective. So you'll see how many different screens and how much information I'm dealing with in real time. And you'll note that where there are gaps in my speech pattern, where I have to slow down or stall as I'm trying to find information, is because I'm trying to find information. I had to have a separate window open for each group of auction lots. Each auction lot then had its own tab, and in order to see the most recent bids, I needed to refresh each auction lot's page and then click on the separate history tab in each page, scroll down to the history of the page where the bids were coming in, and every time I wanted to see the most recent bids, I needed to go through that process again. And if this sounds like a lot to do while speaking on camera, it's because it is. Here.
Mountain One Napa. Opening bid on this was at $3,800. We'll check in on the bidding, but first, let's start the countdown timer. There's 2 minutes left on Group A, 2 minutes left on the first 4 lots of the night. And let's bounce over and take a look and see where the bidding has gotten to on lot number 1, the virtual comedy night. Oh, the bidding started with Sonia at $1,000, and Daniel Coleman's bid her up to $1,100, looking to get more bids on comedy night. Oh, and then looking at lot number 2, which is the alluring Alpine Meadows, the getaway. It's either a getaway now or getaway later. Craig Beacock started us off at $3,000, and then Dan Wire came in at $4,000. And then the bidding really got hot then, because Alex and Marissa came in at $4,250, and then Matt Mountain One now.
So as you can see, jumping through the hoops impedes the flow of the auction. And experiences like this are why I decided to do this webinar in the first place. And my goal here is not to slam any particular bidding platform. None of us saw this coming. None of us thought, hey, 2020 is the year I'm going to do every one of my fundraising auctions on the internet, and I need your platform to do exactly what that's going to look like. I've been participating in on-screen demos, as I said, with over 10 bidding platform providers for the past 2 weeks. And I'm being honest when I say I've really enjoyed getting to know representatives from these companies from all over the country. The majority of these companies got into the fundraising auction space because they wanted to help nonprofits. Their hearts are in the right place. They're good people, but not every platform is built to represent bidding in real time for an auctioneer who is on camera. And on top of that, I have some very specific needs. I get it. Hopefully I don't come off as a prima donna. I'm not out to slam any particular product company or their product. I know some of them are making radical changes to their platforms, some of them even in the coming weeks or months. And I do hope to highlight the instances, though, where a platform makes my job easier or where it makes it more challenging. Plus, if you're doing an evaluation of what your bidding platform is going to be, I want to add a level of analysis that I want you to include when evaluating bidding platforms for me or your auctioneer, whoever that might be. So I focused on these keys: the representation of live auction bids, my ability to engage bidders in real time, the ability to have multiple live items up for sale at the same time, because that's part of my approach, representation of fund the need pledges, including a real-time display of the person pledging and the pledge amount, history of pledges to the fund the need, graphical representation of the fund the need, such as a thermometer or a scroll of pledges, and potential customization of the fund the need graphics. And I found software basically falls into two main categories. You have your pure bidding platforms and your all-in-one virtual Gala solutions. And your pure bidding platforms offer payment processing solutions for live auctions, online auctions, and fund the need pledges. They create a website where people can see and bid on your auction items and make pledges. And they have an online bidding platform that is optimized for mobile bidding. Pure bidding platforms do not stream your Gala for you. If you utilize their software, you'll still need to find a way to get your virtual Gala to the internet, or in some cases, add on the streaming package that they have additionally. All-in-one virtual Gala solutions are companies that offer payment processing solutions for live auctions, online auctions, and fund the need pledges. They have an online bidding platform optimized for mobile. Where they differ is the website they create for your event is intended to be the portal for your Gala live stream. They create a page where people can see and bid on your auction items and fund the need and watch your Gala at the same time. You don't have to use their streaming service or commit your stream to be viewed on their page, but it's a key differentiator for them, and we'll talk more about it as we get to it. But first, I'm going to start with bidding platforms because that's where I've worked most. Pure bidding platforms. These are the software companies or payment processing providers you've probably heard of or used before. Greater Giving, GiveSmart, OneCause, formerly BidPal, Ready Set Auction, and some new to me companies, including Octree and Auction Frogs, all made this webinar. There are plenty more out there. Let's start with Greater Giving. Been around the longest of any of the payment processing platforms I've worked with. They are the big dog on the block, one of the biggest bid platform companies, if not the, which means they are stable, they are reliable, unless Microsoft happens to make an update on the day of your event that takes everything down, and that happened to everybody last Friday, and Greater Giving did a great job of getting back up, but they are stable and reliable, not as nimble as some of the smaller companies. Their existing bidding platform works well for virtual galas without any customization though. So let's jump in. I've got a video. We'll push play, and I'm going to narrate this. This item is the page I, as auctioneer, used to see bidding on each auction item. Going to click on the Napa Valley Backroads and Railways, get in. The bidding history, as you see, is a little further down the page, so scroll down to the bidding history. The reason bidding history is important to me is that I like to react to all of the bids. I like to think of virtual galas, since we open the auctions a day in advance often, as calling a horse race where a quarter of the race is already run when I start calling it, but I still want to call it. I also like to be able to see the second and third place bidders on the same screen so I can encourage them to participate as well. And you'll notice that when I place a bid on my phone, it auto-populates to the screen, easy peasy. Clearly shows when an item has been bid. You can have multiple items up for sale and closing at the same time, but it just means that I, as auctioneer, need to have multiple tabs open for each different lot. Or your AV provider needs to be familiar with the system and ready to respond to your auctioneer's needs in real time and be able to bounce back and forth between different auction lot windows as they're open. Greater Giving also has solid real-time fund-a-need presentation. This video shows the fund the need from a bidder's perspective, but that perspective works also very well for me as auctioneer. Every pledge is automatically added to the list in real time without needing to refresh the page. I can scroll down to see all of the pledges that have been made. Greater Giving also has a big thermometer page that shows each pledge as it is being made with various options for customization, etc. That is a good display piece. But it only shows their thermometer. The big one only shows the most recent pledge for a short period of time. So I don't like to use it. It looks good on stream though. It really does. So in summary, and I'm going to whip through here. Like I said, there are 10 platforms. In summary, Greater Giving represents live auction bids in real time. It gives me a solid ability to react to bids in real time. Can have multiple live items up for sale at the same time. Represents fund the need pledges with a real-time display of the person pledging and the pledge amount and the history of pledges to the fund the need. They've got the graphical representation of the fund the need, the thermometer, potential customization. In short, Greater Giving does what I need it to with a minimum of on-the-fly hoop jumping, which is my new favorite phrase. Next up, GiveSmart. GiveSmart has been around since 2011. I had my first event with them back in 2014. They were smaller and more nimble back then. They've grown a lot in the ensuing 6 years. Their virtual gala platform as it is works pretty well for virtual galas. Bidding on auction items has its challenges, but their fund-to-need representation is excellent. Full disclosure, I reached out to GiveSmart, but we weren't able to find a time that worked for both of us in a week and a half to get them to do a video demo. So what I did was I went back and sanitized screenshots from an event I did back in May. So see who is bidding on an auction item and the bid history right here. There's the list of auction items that they had up for bid. Obviously everything's closed because we're after the fact, but we're gonna jump up to lot 102, which is the Chef and Conus. I click on that auction items page in GiveSmart's bidding portal. Have to scroll down to bidding item history there. You see item history, click on that. That opens up the page that shows all of the bids in chronological order from top to bottom. So if you want to see the most recent bid on that, you have to scroll to the bottom of that. So if you want to see new bids, you have to hit refresh and repeat, which is suboptimal. But the winning bidder is clearly displayed at the bottom of the list once the item closes. They do have a certain amount of customization. For example, this leaderboard features just the first 4 auction lots, which comprised group 1 of our auction that evening. So after looking at the history of the bids for each one, I could then bounce over to this and just see the leading bids. The challenge is that it only shows the leading or winning bid though. So I'd have to bounce back and forth. I have a slightly different approach to online virtual galas. I get that, but I am hoping that they have time to create the template I need for the leaderboard I'm looking for by the time we do our next gala together. Where they really shine is in the fund-to-need. They have this public scroll, which shows the thermometer. The thermometer is horizontal here, as well as a crawl on your right-hand part of the screen, which shows every donor and donation amount. I went through and sanitized this, like I said, and took out people's last names. The crawl repeats endlessly, but every time there's a new donor, that little yellow star appears next to their donation. This time it's anonymous, but it's cool because it makes it easy to see new donations and make sure that I am reacting to them. But what I really appreciate is their other fund-to-need screen they have, which is the one that we used privately. It breaks the pledges up into 2 categories. On the left are pledges of $1,000 or more, and on the right is the complete feed. And this is customizable. Like we said, big pledges would be 1,000 or more. What is a big pledge for you might vary. Again, the little star means this is the first time that name has appeared on the scroll, which gives me an opportunity to react to all of the pledges. So on the left, we can go down, Anne-Marie just pledged $50,000. The Strata Education Network is in at $25,000. And then if there aren't new pledges in the big side, can look to the right side and have all the new pledges there as well to work off of. It ensures I'm able to see and react to all the biggest pledges because you don't want to mess the $25,000 pledge, right? But it also makes sure that there's the opportunity to react to the smaller pledges and have them all going at the same time. So GiveSmart, they represent live auction bids, but I'm not going to say that's in real time. I can react to bidding that's happened, but I have to hit refresh to see the new bids unless I'm on the leaderboard that only shows the current bid, which again is in real time. Can have multiple live items up for sale at the same time and create leaderboards for those groupings. I think they shine on fund-to-need pledges with their real-time looping display of the person pledging and the pledge amount and the icon indicating a pledge's first appearance. There's a graphical representation of the fund-to-need. They've got a thermometer. There's potential customization in there. In short, GiveSmart can do live auctions the way that I do. Seeing bids in their live auction bidding requires a little on-the-fly hoop jumping. If you're looking to do an auction where the auctioneer is actively calling for bids on screen and working that next bid, you could do it in the leaderboard. Next up was Octree. They've been around since 2011. They've done over 30,000 auctions, helped raise over $170 million. They have a highly customizable event website design. I have not yet done an event with them. They have this live auction controller, which is built for, administrating the live auction in real time. In this example, there are multiple items to choose from. So we're gonna as soon as we hit quick select, the America's Cup sailing lot becomes the active lot, brings it up on the bidding page and the mobile bidding page as the current live item. And then there's a chance here the person's going to bid on this, and then we're going to go over to the actual up to the top of the controller page because it shows you at the bottom what attendees are seeing as well. So we see down, scroll down, see what looks like the bid, enter the bid, and then in the live auction controller there's a button for bidding. So click on it, it shows the bid history for that item. It auto refreshes as people make bids in the system, and there's a few things to note on their system. People can enter bids above and beyond what the next increment is. You can change the bid increment on the fly in the back end as the admin. Furthermore, let's bounce to the next page. No, I said bounce to the next page. Here we go, Ferrari, because midlife crisis. Sorry, I'm bidding on a Ferrari and then a massive TV because, as I said, midlife crisis. And we quickly transition back to the admin page where you can see that we've got a group of 2 live items at the top of the live auction controller page. And further down in the bid history, you're going to see that it is sortable by all kinds of data. So here we go up to the history. So now look, here we've got essentially live bidding in real time for multiple items sorted by item. You can sort it by amount, you can sort it by time, but I like sorting it by item because now we see, okay, here are the 2 bids on the TV, here are all the bids on Ferrari. You can do it across an entire group of items, and you can group those items on the fly. There's maybe too much control in the back end here, but it's fun. It basically enables, like, this is essentially what I want to see. One of the challenges we encounter with virtual galas are the scattershot approach to doing fund-a-needs. You have all your donation levels available at the same time, and when you start taking pledges live, you might have people pledging $500 when you're asking for $5,000, which is fine. Hey, we appreciate every pledge, especially right now. And there's something to be said for having every level available for a day in advance to get some pre-populated gifts in there. So we have instant success when we actively start asking for pledges. But if you really want to do it one level at a time, Octree has that built in for you. And their live auction console, simply choose the level you want to go live. It pops up on bidder screens as the only currently available level at which to give. And as auctioneer, I can readily see all the gifts at that level. Or you can make all of the levels available and do it that way too. Furthermore, Octree is, so here we go, we got the $500 donation, donate $500. We're only seeing the $500 level at this point, so that's what's populating. Their thermometer is easy to customize. You can place it wherever you want on the bidding page or set it up as its own page as an asset for your AV team. You can customize orientation, color, height, etc. And I'm always been easily distracted by shiny, flashy things, so I think that's all pretty cool and fun. In short, or in summary, Octree has adapted well to virtual galas from the auctioneer's perspective. They are able to represent live auction bids in real time. I can react to bidding and encourage new bids, can have multiple live items up for sale at the same time, can easily customize or create customized layouts to see the bidding on those groupings, can group items on the fly, create customized bid views on the fly. They give good control, almost complete control of the fund-a-need, giving you the option to either do by level fund-a-need or accept pledges at all levels at the same time. Either way, I can see all the pledges in real time without having to hit refresh. And since I can sort them by pledge amount, you could have all pledge levels available and react only to each level as you went. The graphical representation of fund-a-need, check. Thermometer, check. Easy customization, yes. I haven't worked with them yet, but if I do, I'd be looking forward to it. With every one of these platforms, I'm going to say if it's a platform I haven't seen or used before, you need to make some analysis and evaluation from your end and from the bidder's end, and we'll go more into that detail later. Up next is a platform I have worked with, OneCause, formerly known as BidPal. BidPal was one of the first, if not the first, to market with mobile bidding back in 2007, back before everyone had a computer in their pocket. BidPal was literally a device that you rented for your event for mobile bidding. BidPal and I, full disclosure, did not get along very well early on because they wanted a piece of the fund-a-need at in-person live events, and me and their founder had a coffee back in 2007 where we agreed to disagree. I still believe that raising paddles in person is far more compelling, but in the intervening years, they have done great work and have adapted as a mobile technology and have become prevalent on mobile bidding. Changed to OneCause because they no longer rent out the BidPals, have worked with over 20,000 events to help raise over $1.5 billion. They they are doing good work. OneCause's mobile platform is fantastic for online silent auctions. As it currently stands, though, I cannot say that it is built for virtual galas. Let's start with the bidding. You remember that initial video I showed of that last event I did? That was with OneCause and BidPal. And here I took a shot of their event from the admin screen. I recorded it and have made my way to the list of packages in the live auction. Now I click on history and you can see the item has one bid. The page is static, so the only way to see if there are more bids is to reload the page, which boots you out of the history. So you have to click on history again, and we still only have one bid. And I wanted to make sure I was doing this right, so I set up a demo with OneCause, and the incredibly nice and informative Diana, thanks for joining us today, ran me through the back end and confirmed what I just showed you, that this is the only way to see every bid on an auction item. OneCause does have scoreboards pre-built that you can use for your live auction, but they only show the current high bidder. Again, not the way I do things. That might work for some of you. They only show, however, the top items currently up for bid. So if you wanted to show the live auction items that were currently up for bid, you would have to deactivate all of the other live auction items and silent auction items. And the only workaround for this, and only show the item or group of items you wanted shown, which is a lot of workarounds. Fund a need. OneCause has a solid scoreboard for the fund a need, shows the amount raised and the name of every person who makes a pledge as they do. Does not automatically show how much they pledged. They do have scoreboards that you can customize to do so, but they charge a fee for that customization on the back end. In summary, they have a solid mobile platform, but they do not make conducting a virtual gala easy. And to be fair, OneCause knows this. They are currently working on a virtual gala specific solution that is slated to arrive soon. Until then, however, it's not a software solution I can recommend for doing a virtual gala. While we're at it, I'll briefly cover Ready Set Auction. I did an event with Ready Set Auction back in April. I'd never heard of or worked with them before. And to be honest, it was this experience that made me realize how important bidding software is to my job this year. And how much of an opinion I've come to have on this thing. Seeing the bids on auction items required refreshing the page for each auction item, which is on par with several other platforms. It was the fund a need, however, that made my job incredibly difficult. In order to see pledges in the fund a need, I needed to scroll down to the admin page, click on a 9-point font See Gifts link, which brought up a report that was too wide to fit on my screen because it was 8 columns wide. So I had to deselect 6 columns so I could get name and pledge amount on screen, hit Run Report, which brought up a static PDF file of the fund a need pledges to date. And every time I wanted to see new pledges in the fund a need, that was the experience. That was what I had to do. That was what I had to do in real time while on camera. The experience for users was fine. We were able to complete our event and raise a decent amount of money, but there was no fund a need graphical representation. There was no thermometer, nothing to show on screen. In short, until they revamp their virtual gala solution, I would prefer not to work with them actively and would prefer to do pledging in chat. Our final pure bidding platform is Auction Frogs. Founded in 2007, they've worked with over 700 clients to produce over 2,000 events and raise over $69 million. And as their founder and CEO, Christy, will tell you, they are nimble. This is an active event that they currently had running. To see bidding as it is happening, you open up the items page, because right, Treehouse. And then in the history, it's going to show the bidding. It's going to update in real time as people make bids. And Auction Frogs has the ability to sell multiple items at once. The way that they are built, in order to see the bid history on each item, need to have the page open for each item, but spoiler alert, that has changed. Can see all the bids as they're coming in at the same time across all the open lots on a leaderboard, but it does get a little confusing because it's just one big leaderboard showing everything. It's the same leaderboard for the fund a need. So this is the page for the fund a need of a different organization, but still with Auction Frogs platform. It auto-populates and refreshes without needing prompting, and you can see all of the pledges that have been made in this history section. You can also see the most recent pledges or activity on a leaderboard. Give me just a second. You never know how fast you're going to talk when you're recording something. So there's all of the pledges, the pledging history. We're going to bounce over to the leaderboard. You can see the leaderboard. And the leaderboard, as you'll see in just a second, can be a little bit confusing because it includes bids as they are happening in other sections of the event as well. But I said that Auction Frogs is nimble, so Christy and I have been working to come up with some leaderboards that show multiple items at once, and shows all of the bidding on each item. Our event is going to be in September, and originally I wrote this to say, so I'll get back to you, but in summary, Auction Frogs has adapted well to conducting virtual galas. Their live auction items update in real time without needing to refresh. You can sell multiple live items at the same time. The Fund the Need updates in real time with every pledge. There's a leaderboard that shows all activity. The font on the live auction bids and the Fund the Need pledges on their pages is pretty small though. And Auction Frogs claims to be extremely nimble and able to customize within reason. And so Christy and I had a demo on Friday. And when I explained what I was looking for, she said she could get it done. I said, okay. This came in this morning. She created this over the weekend based on our conversation. These are 4 auction lots that are all open and closing at the same time. And full disclosure, she didn't create this just to look good for a demo. She and I are working on an event coming up in September, and she knew, like, we'd agreed that this was the way we wanted to do that event, but she and her team were able to create this for me in under 72 hours. So yeah, nimble and affordable. Pricing on Auction Frogs starts at $600 and goes up from there. Huh. Okay, that's the first half hour, and that concludes the pure bidding platform providers. And now we get to move on to a different breed of providers. These are the all-in-one solutions. These are extremely new. I have not had the opportunity to work with any of them. I didn't even get to review anywhere near all of them. I guarantee that each and every one of them is going to accuse me of burying the lead here because they all believe that they are the answer, capital T, capital A, for virtual galas. And before we jump into any individual all-in-one platform, however, I'd like to spend a little time explaining what they are, what their goals are, and maybe add a little of my analysis as well. On the right, you're going to see the one virtual gala all-in-one solution I didn't get a chance to review that I know exists, which is event.gives. But these are bidding platforms that have been built or repurposed to be expressly for virtual galas. They're bidding interfaces designed to enable auctioneers to engage bidders through the internet to encourage bids and sell auction items in real time. Gee, Greg, that sounds great. Why aren't you leading with this? Or why haven't you been espousing these platforms from the beginning of this webinar? Well, that's because they are designed to be the sole interface for your gala, and their page design becomes your virtual gala design. The video stream of your gala gets, on average, 25% of the screen on an all-in-one solutions layout. To put it in stark terms, you're making a choice between design and engagement, and this has always been the #1 choice you have to make for your virtual gala. How do you want your virtual gala to look to your attendees? You could use one of these platforms on a second device and stream your gala to the big screen, but this is anathema to some of these producers. In fact, when I asked one of them if it was possible to port portions of their screen, i.e. the thermometer for the Fund the Need, to a studio-produced production and then have people making pledges on a second device, their response was an incredulous, like, why? Why would you ever do that? Also, most of these solutions are designed for selling one lot at a time. So if you want to do groupings, there is either no way to do so, or you have to do some massive workarounds, which means your virtual gala is really an auction with a capital A, or that you have very few auction items. BetterUnite was the first of these virtual gala solutions that I met with this last 2 weeks. Launched in 2017, they offer a full suite of fundraising tools: online fundraising, event management, text to give, auction and mobile bidding, CRM management, and more. Radically different approach to fees. Their virtual gala solution is built to make auctioneers happy. I didn't have time to dive in and play with BetterUnite's UI from a user's perspective. So if you opt to evaluate them, make sure you play around as a bidder. I mean, really, that goes with every platform, whether I covered it today or not. This page is their admin for a virtual gala. We're going to sell the trip to Hawaii because Hawaii. This page is the bidder's experience, the virtual gala product, if you will. That baby is going to be the auctioneer. Pretend he is not cuter than I am. This page is what it looks like for bidders. We had to refresh the screen because we were taking sold lots and making them live again, but in a normal environment, any lot that is activated automatically populates to bidders' screens. So you are controlling the user's experience, even if you aren't controlling the look and feel of that experience. Back to the auction admin page, and to really pull this off, you would need an admin in addition to your auctioneer. Here we've got Frankie as our lead bidder. We're currently asking $7,300. The increment's $100. Next ask is $7,400. You can adjust all of those increments on the fly, so you're not locked into the increment you start with, like you are with a lot of the pure bidding platforms. So here she bids, and then over in my view, you can see that the bid has come in. Boom, that bid needs to be acknowledged, and then we're on to the next bid. They focus a lot of communication to the top 2 bidders. So you get notifications if you're currently the highest bidder, and notifications if you were the highest bidder but have been outbid. But if you drop down to the 3rd place, they don't really focus on you unless you get back in the game. Their fund a need has the ability to offer individual levels or all levels available simultaneously. Can include a quantification of need or information about what each level does within that level's description. So when you click on the level, it brings up more information about what your money does. BetterUnite also has a fund a need leaderboard. Their leaderboard recognizes
and this
new
is going to
pledges
show bids
over
as
the
they come in. There's
thermometer.
actually an animation.
I should have made hers silent. Pardon me. There we go. It's not live theater if something doesn't go wrong. Their leaderboard recognizes new pledges over the thermometer, in this case, the ARC. We didn't get any new pledges, so you kind of have to take my word for it. The scroll is every pledge that has been made. You can customize that to show name and amount, etc. So you see at the beginning of this, it was just names, and then she added the amounts as well. Can set the filter to only show pledges at certain levels, so you only see the top tier pledges when you first ask for that highest pledge amount. You can have all of the amounts open for pledging, but then only react to each pledge level in turn. They also have text to give and incorporate a text to give campaign into a virtual gala to get pledges after the live show. So you could close your fund a need on Saturday night or leave it open for a week. And then even after that, have a text to give number that was open forever so that anybody ever saw it, they could decide that they wanted to give you money as well. In summary, BetterUnite is built to make a virtual auction as close to a live auction as possible. It enables auctioneers to conduct a live auction online, but requires an administrator to work with the auctioneer to advance bids, change increments, etc. The UI ports to mobile pretty well, doesn't place the video from the live stream at the top of the mobile page, so it'd be a solid 2-screen solution as well. They don't charge any fees up front, but you pay for each transaction a 2.9% credit card processing fee and 2% plus 30 cents to BetterUnite. So basically 4.9% plus 30 cents for every transaction. They offer your attendees the opportunity to underwrite those transaction costs and claim that most do, though I have no experience and cannot verify that claim. BetterUnite looked fun, and if the back end worked for you and the bidding experience was a good one, I'd be into doing an auction with them. Next up was ClickBid. ClickBid has been in the mobile bidding arena for a long time. The company was founded in 2002. They were originally Greater Giving's mobile bidding provider until Greater Giving decided to bring all of the development in-house. ClickBid has an extremely solid mobile bidding platform, created their own management suite to go on top of that, and which now includes a virtual gala solution. So here is ClickBid demo, and bear with me because the demo that we originally conducted with ClickBid didn't record. So they were kind enough to provide me with my own sandbox where I set up a fake auction and ran through a few lots. So what you're seeing is me learning how to use their software in real time, which is humbling. But here. Hey, I'm going to take a break from talking right now and just let my recorded self run with this. This is ClickBid's auctioneer control section within their site. And this is what their site looks like from the bidder's perspective, although it doesn't have the video in it because there's an issue with being the site that's broadcasting and receiving at the same time. So here's the site. If you click on Bid Live, there currently is this item, the 5-star culinary adventure to Italy, but it hasn't been made active yet. So I'm going to come here, make it active, start selling it. Oh wait, that opening bid of $2,500 is too high, so I'm going to make it $2,000. I'm going to say the minimum bids are $200. That's all been updated in real time. And oh look, now here's the opportunity to bid now on this. So we're looking at this from the auctioneer's perspective. I have a couple of phones here that I'm going to bid on. I'm going to pretend like Michelle, my lovely wife, wants to go, and boom, she's just bid $2,000. I'm going to bid against her. Bang, I've just bid $2,200. Says gives us our notifications that we've been outbid. We go back and forth. It's an auctioneer's dream. In fact, everything's going so well that hey, I'm going to say the minimum bid is now $500, and that automatically updates on everybody's bid increment. So then we're at 3,300. In fact, I'm going to get greedy and say, hey, I'm now going to bump that minimum bid to $1,000. And it updates in real time. And boom, we're off and running, and we're getting bids. Oh, I've been outbid, so I'm going to bid 5,800, and oh, bam, it's 6,200, and oh, hey, Michelle's back in over here. So this works really well for the auctioneer. If you go in here, let's take a look at the bidder's thing. So this is what it looks like from the bidder. Hey, look, bid 7,800. Bam, there we go. Hey, you're winning this item at 8,800, and it is automatically updated on this side. One additional comment about this platform is that it works really well for a hybrid solution. If you're going to be doing a hybrid event and you're in the room and you're working the bids and you've got people at home who are bidding, if I'm doing a hybrid event, I want to be focused on the people in the room and having control of the process. So whoever is on the back end, whoever the administrator is, can also be running floor bids, which means just I got a bid in the house, and they don't have to write the number down or anything else. They can just take the bid in the house, and then all of a sudden, Michelle being at home could say, hey, I don't care. I still want to go on this trip to Italy. And then bam, she's in at 11,000. So that there is, that there is ClickBid's bidding solution from the auctioneer's perspective. Oh, and I forgot the most important part. When you're done, you hit sell, item has been sold, boom. Okay, not bad for first time through, and which means if I can learn to use it quickly, anybody can, right? One thing, ClickBid, I couldn't figure out how to enable bidders to enter their own custom bid amount. In other words, they could always bid what we were asking, but the only way I could find for someone to jump the bid was to bid a bunch of times in a row, which is going to be really challenging for most in-person auctions. And maybe it's buried in the settings somewhere and I just couldn't find it. I didn't have a lot of time to spend playing around with this. But if that is the way it is, then that's kind of suboptimal. Here is the ClickBid Fund a Need. ClickBid does offer a leaderboard that has moderate customization options available. You can change the background. It shows the person who made a pledge, but it doesn't show the pledge amount. That information, however, is available on the auctioneer's dashboard, where you can see who has made pledges and for how much. But you have to leave the page and come back, and then when you do, it sorts by pledge amount. In summary, ClickBid can do a live auction in real time for a virtual gala. It enables control of the bidding increments and really would port well to a hybrid solution. In fact, it is currently the leader in the clubhouse from my perspective for a hybrid solution. It has a pretty gaping hole though, in that it doesn't readily allow a bidder to jump the bid amount unless I just couldn't find that. You can't sell multiple live items at a time. So the workaround means utilizing silent auction items and doing that, which means you pretty much forego a big chunk of that, the UI I just showed you. Has a moderately customizable graphic asset for the Fund a Need, which does do bidding and shows pledges in real time. Pricing is a la carte, but it really starts about $1,500, $800 for a basic package, $500 to live stream, plus messaging, texting, et cetera, all add-ons. In short, I'd be happy to give a go with ClickBid. Next up is PayBee, founded in 2016 as an in-person event management and payment processing company. Started managing events in 2018, made the hard pivot to virtual this year, working with another local auctioneer. They've built a platform that enables an individual or a small team to produce what I consider to be the DIY virtual gala solution. They have a pretty easy to navigate virtual gala admin portal. And this is PayBee's virtual gala streaming platform. So in other words, this is what users see if you were using PayBee as your complete all-in-one interface. The Monterey Bay Aquarium video in the upper left is where your live video stream would be for the gala. It's basically where your program would appear. Plus you've got chat in the lower left, auction item information on the right, and then bidding on the lower right. Bidders can choose to bid the next increment or enter their own bid amount and jump the bid in real time, all of which is represented in real time on the admin page. And when it is time to sell an item, you simply click on Declare Winner. You cannot do groups of items in this interface, but you can use the silent auction as the workaround if you really wanted to go in that direction. For the fund of need, they endeavor to give you control of the fund of need by allowing you to choose which increment of your fund of need is being presented at a time. Once you are presenting, it shows all of the pledges in chronological order. There weren't any graphical elements on the demo we did. This is the page from the user's perspective. There may have been a thermometer option in there. I just can't find it in the demo we did. And to be fair to PayBee, my notes are a little messy from that conversation. But in summary, PayBee offers a virtual live auction that represents live auction bids in real time, gives me as auctioneer solid ability to react to bids in real time, but it cannot have multiple live items up for sale at the same time. Does represent fund of need pledges with a real-time display of the person pledging and the pledge amount and the history of pledges to the fund of need, though it had no graphical representation of the fund of need that I saw or could find. And again, if it existed, let me know, and I will, like the New York Times, correct myself in future webinars. It also didn't have any potential customization of those fund of need graphics. But at this stage, I would say PayBee is the DIY virtual Gala solution. Our final bidding platform of the day, Qtego. If PayBee's DIY, then Qtego fancies itself as the concierge fundraising event planning provider platform. Founded in 2009, really focused on being the one device solution, be it phone or laptop, offer a number of customizable solutions. Qtego's main offering for auctioneers is a large MC screen where they have this for each auction item. This screen updates in real time without hitting refresh, so it hits the basic needs for doing a live auction online. It only shows the previous 5 bids, so if an item has been open for a while, you can only react to the most recent bids, but it does show live auction bids in real time and lets you know who the second and third and fourth place bidders are, so you can react to them and try to encourage their bidding as well. Qtego's fund of need has customizable graphics like this pretty heart, making the on-screen element flashy for your crowd, but it only shows the names of the people who are making pledges. And if I, as auctioneer, want to see how much people are pledging, it has a backstage admin page that shows everyone's name and pledge amount that you can sort and filter by pledge amount. So it is easy to see who is pledging at every level and try to do a controlled fund of need, but it does not auto refresh, so it has to be loaded every time. In summary, Qtego provides the ability to see the most recent bids in real time, but not more than the last 5. Can have multiple live items up for sale at the same time, but those do not appear on the same page. Represents fund of need pledges with a real-time display of people pledging, but not the pledge amounts. To see the history of pledges to fund of need, you have to hit refresh, which isn't always optimal. It has customizable graphical representation of the fund of need in real-time public fund of need feed. Qtego is full service with full service pricing. They start at $2,500 and go up from there. Okay, that's a lot of information. The longest webinar I've done yet. The 22 pages of notes and we're still not finished, right? I didn't really have time to do more than scratch the surface on each of these platforms. And some of these choices come down to a philosophical choice between production value and engagement, between how you want your virtual gala to feel and how it felt when it was in the room. And let's be honest, if you're evaluating a bidding platform for your virtual gala, I encourage you to focus on 3 key elements, right? The experience for your bidders, the experience for your auctioneer, and most importantly, the experience for you as you work with the software. If you can't get comfortable with the software and manage the back end, then you're going to need to hire someone who is comfortable with it. Every one of these platforms will set you up with a sandbox and give you a chance to play with it. I recommend you start looking at your bidding platform no less than a month out, but really 3 to 6 months out, so you can start figuring out what they do, because I remember a report back in the late 90s that said power users of Microsoft Office used 10 to 12% of what was available in the platform. And here 20 years later, I still feel like that's the truth. And I feel like it's the truth with most of these platforms as well. They have a lot of offerings, they have a lot of functionality built into it, and if you wait to the last minute, you're not going to be able to utilize all of it. I have one tip, and one tip only this week, and that is the tip I've been saying for months now. Booking AV is like booking your room. You would never wait until the last minute and hope that your ballroom is going to be available, and it's the same thing with audio visual for virtual galas right now. events that have decided suddenly that they want to do an event in September or October are finding that AV providers are booked up. So if you're thinking about doing an event, and which you should be, but if you're thinking about doing your virtual gala, get on it. Now is the time to book your AV. Whew. Okay, that was long. I appreciate you staying with me all the way until the very end. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and bring up the video. There's that guy. He talks forever. Get into Q&A, get into chat. Let's see here. Do we have any questions? Any questions? You're all very kind in chat. I appreciate that. And yes, George, I can only backwards though. I cannot walk forwards and chew gum at the same time. There's no open questions and no questions in chat. It's just so much information. It's just such a gush of information that everybody's just taking it all in. If there's no questions, then we'll say good day, and I'll get back to drinking my tea, and we'll have a good day. But hey, here comes one. Excellent. Give it, you can take just a moment, because there's nothing more engaging than watching somebody drink tea on screen. Somebody started to type a question, and then it's what is the best format for Just Fund a Need? The best bidding platform for Just Fund a Need? Yes, and visually. I think if you've got any of the platforms that I currently mentioned today, and you've already got them booked, and the ones that work well, stick with them. They do fine. I think if you've got Greater Giving works great. If you've got GiveSmart works great for the fund a need. If you have any of the other platforms, I think they'd be fine as well. I should have anticipated that picking a favorite would come up, and I can't at this point. I've only done Fund the Needs live with Greater Giving, GiveSmart, Ready Set Auction, and BidPal/OneCause, and I would say that of those four, GiveSmart and Greater Giving worked great. Let's see. And visually, I think both the same thing. Once again, between Greater Giving and GiveSmart, they both have good thermometers, and you can go from there. And then in terms of the other, I thought a lot of the other newer platforms looked fun. It's just a matter of what you're comfortable, making sure. Again, it comes back to, it's not just my perspective. It's I didn't have time to go in and do any analysis on what it's like from the bidder's perspective or participant's perspective, right? And that's extremely useful. I mentioned to a friend of mine about how much I liked one of these platforms, and they were like, "Oh my gosh," but I thought it was a pain in the butt. And I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, good to know." Here's a question in chat. How do I see a hybrid happening when people are in the room and others are at home? What's my platform for that? Here's the thing. I think for now, we're talking about doing virtual galas, and the focus is entirely on making the virtual gala the thing, right? And so there's going to be a lot of time and money invested in making virtual galas look good, right? I am a huge proponent of getting virtual galas behind door number one on the big screen on YouTube, so whoever is watching can be gathered around a big screen and then engaged on their phones in the bidding. That's what I'm a proponent of. When we get to doing hybrid galas, let's just say that we get to the place where we're able to be back in a room together. We get to doing hybrid galas. I think it's going to be unreasonable to expect clients, nonprofit organizations to want to spend tens of thousands of dollars on the room and AV for in the room, and then thousands of dollars again on producing an event that broadcast, right? So I think what we're going to wind up doing is coming up with, okay, what's the most effective way to create an event in person that looks good when you broadcast it at home, but isn't designed specifically for the broadcast. And in that context, I think what you're going to want is a virtual galas platform, like the ones I mentioned at the end of the presentation today, that can enable you to do an auction like you normally would. Like, I am not professionally, I am not going to go through having spent, however many months we're in this doing virtual galas, giving control of the process to a platform to then get back in the room and have to either A, surrender that control, or B, wait for a platform. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do a live auction the way I've always done a live auction. And what I need is a platform that can keep up. And of all the platforms I looked at, like I said, so far, ClickBid is the one that has the hybrid solution right now. And it looked like BetterUnite was right in there with them. The only thing BetterUnite didn't have is the ability to recognize a bid in the room. Because here's what my proposal for doing hybrid events is to be doing an auction and to have at my feet a confidence monitor that has whatever the virtual gala platform is that we're using with bids, and to have an administrator off of screen who, and we're going really far down a path, but there's no other questions, so I'll just keep doing this until somebody asks another question. Have an administrator off scene who's on the back end who's monitoring virtual bids. So I'm in the room, 5,000 at 55, 55, and 6,000 at 65, 65. Hey, they yell bid. I look down. Hey, George Franco joining us from home, just bid $6,500. Thank you, George. We appreciate it. Now 7, go 7, just right back to the room, right? 7, make it feel like it's seamlessly integrated. And yes, Janelle, you're right. The ClickBid is the only one right now with the in-room bid button. They're the only one. It's a simple fix. You think they'll be able to get it? I mean, I'm positive that all the other ones, if they chose to, could get it implemented by the time we get back in the room, because who knows when we're going to be back in the room. But for right now, that for me is the way that we're going to do hybrids, if we ever get there. Any other questions on bidding platforms? Anything? Bueller? I think it's the first time I've done one of these webinars where we had 48 minutes of content and very few questions. How do you counter bidding platforms that say professional auctioneers are not necessary to this virtual gala model? Both I and a team member received an email where this was clearly stated. Oof, I am, well, you know, A, they're burning bridges that they shouldn't be, because there's going to come a time when they're back in the room and we're all back in the room, and not to hold threats or anything else, but if anybody said, hey, you don't need to use a professional auctioneer for your virtual gala, and when we're back in the room, I'd say, hey, you know, it might be time to find a new bidding platform. But I am just a petty, vengeful little man. That said, my counter to them is that what you need, like, things are going to go wrong. Things are going to go right, but things are going to go wrong on a virtual gala. And what you want, what a nonprofit organization needs, is somebody who can be on camera, is used to speaking, to looking and reading and being able to speak clearly and articulate message and transition from moment to moment and represent the fundraising, and represent the organization well, so that if anything does happen, they can roll with the punches, because the last thing you want is something going wrong and having somebody on screen who does this. But also, our job is to engage people and to make a process entertaining and inviting and exciting. And I think that, you know, our job is to make this process exciting, whether it's happening virtually or in person, right? My son, who's been stuck at home with me for 4 months now, can tell you that my job is to create a sense of urgency and excitement. And whether we're in the room or whether we're virtual, my goal is to do that. And I don't think a bidding platform on its own can do those things. I think people like to have their name called out. I think people like to be engaged. I think there's something like, I think watching other people bid online, I can do that on eBay. Whose customer service and helpfulness has stood out from others? Oh, that is a loaded question, isn't it, Yen? Extremely loaded question. So I have had great experience with Greater Giving over the years. They have, but you know, I have a great experience with Greater Giving over the years. I have been in the back door and had opportunity to get access to them for the last 16 years. They're a big company now, but I've had great experiences. GiveSmart, they assign a case manager to you in GiveSmart, and so I've had good experiences with them. I have Auction Frogs, like I said, I'm in the process of working with them for the very first time, and I've been having conversations with their founder and their CEO, and she has been creating things on the fly for me. I really liked BetterUnite. I had met with the founder of them as well, but I haven't had a chance to utilize them. What streaming platform do you like for low latency? They're all streaming platform. Oh, okay. You know, George, I'm not doing the streaming end on the back end of most of the events that I'm doing. I'm utilizing AV partners who are handling all of the streaming. And so I try to stay out of that conversation. We've been streaming to YouTube Live for the most part. Like it's been going through whatever StreamYard or whatever process they're using on the back end, and sending it to YouTube Live. And the main reason I like YouTube Live is because the YouTube app is built into every smart television that's been sold in the United States for the last 5 years. So it makes it easy to get people in front of their TVs. And again, this is my personal preference. I think that this should be entertainment that is crafted to be viewed on as large a screen as possible, so that it is emotionally engaging as possible, so that people can sit around and have a good time and eat and drink and then bid on their phone. Yay, Tessie, good to see you. Shout out to the Alzheimer's Association of San Jose. So let's see, where are we? We're coming up on noon. I, as an auctioneer, am always happy to chat all day, talk for as long as you'll let me. You are welcome, Susan. Thank you for joining us. There's people here. We seem to have run to the end of the questions. Unless there's any more questions, we'll give it another few seconds for anybody. But otherwise, if you come up with questions after the fact, please feel free. Thank you. Good to see you, Jenny. Appreciate you being here. Come up with questions after the fact. Please feel free to reach out. I'm always available. I know many of the auctioneers who joined us today. We've had great conversations, so always here for you. And good luck on all of this. I know it's this is not the year any of us thought we'd be having, but we're seeing some incredible, amazing stuff being done on virtual galas, and all of the work that these platform providers are putting into enabling nonprofits is amazing. And I look forward to seeing what they have created for us in the upcoming weeks and months, and who knows, spring 2021, here we come.